Profoundly yes to that, that racial unity is a gospel issue, irregardless of the drama in our nation. By that I mean, I think there's a very clear call in Scripture, many Scriptures that we're aware of. 2 Corinthians 5, we've been given the ministry of reconciliation. I think of that phrase where we are called as ambassadors, and in essence, an ambassador mends and seeks to restore broken relationships. We're spending a lot of time in this season right now rallying the church in Chicago to what we call Pray Chicago, driven by John 17, Jesus' prayer that we'd be one in order that the world may know. Ephesians 2, the wall being broken down, and that God has made a way for us. Ephesians 4, one gospel, one church, all these phrases of one hope, one faith, one gospel. I think another scripture recently, though, that has been challenging me, Dr. Perkins just finished a book called One Blood, and I was just looking at that again, and that phrase is out of, I think it's Acts 17:26, where Paul says that out of one blood God has made all the nations, all ta ethne, all people. And boy, that cuts right to the chase, that ultimately we are one, so to speak. You know, honestly, I think there is a little bit of a racial unity fatigue in a way. People just like kind of been there, done that. We've talked about that again as the years go by, and I think we have to guard against that, not to be weary in well-doing, not to keep fighting the good fight. I would say another thing though that is awkward is that often we are insulated from some of this kind of stuff. Like I was raised in a small little town in Michigan, far away from the big city, far away from diversity. I didn't see a lot of that as a boy. I was kind of compelled into that in our California years. I don't think you ever let go of the wheel, because when we do, we drift. And certainly in our nation now, there's, oh my goodness, opportunity for us, for God to break our hearts around this. But I think there has to be that commitment to staying strong, hand on the wheel kind of thing. There was a phrase a great old theologian, Watchman Nee, used to say, the Christian life is about keeping one hand on the plow and the other wiping away the tears. And I think that is really true for the whole racial unity thing. You know, a number of years ago we did this book, Heart for the City, little promo piece here. There's a chapter in here that was done by Mark and Milton on racial unity, diversity, and they use the phrase yoke fellows, and it's the idea of commitment and comradeship, say black, white, brown, white, yellow, whatever that looks like, a willingness to go deep together, to learn from each other, to build bridges relationally. And I would say anyone that is beginning a journey toward this kind of stuff, that is so important, to posture oneself, to listen, to learn, to place oneself under minority leadership, spoken as a Caucasian. Oftentimes people are really reluctant about that. I think that our friendships are very, very key. A number of years ago, a man by the name of Gordy Eichelman used to say that if your inner circle looks just like you, the phrase he used is, you're spiritually malnourished, and I've never forgotten that phrase. So we should look like these kind of things that we're striving for: black, brown, yellow, white. Our friendships, our common things that we do together, church where we worship, all those kind of things. So early on in the journey, I would encourage somebody to be to pursue that, to ask for that, to climb out of situations where you're the only, so to speak, ethnic representative, because you never really get this stuff until you see yourself as a little bit as the other or as a minority. Well, I did mention already this sense of collaborative effort of people coming together that I would say, for my wife and I 40 years ago, didn't see as much of that. Even 25 years ago coming to Chicago, I think there is a willingness to push into that, a resurgence of some of that again, that gives me hope, because we need each other. There has to be a commitment to getting out of our own brands, so to speak, to purposely give each other permission to acknowledge how we've fallen short, but to roll up our sleeves and say we're going to get after that.